Good evening, traveler. Oh, welcome back. It is lovely to hear from you again after so long. We're glad you've chosen our establishment yet again. Right, the usual disclaimer before we enter, traveler. Some scenes from the following story we are about to witness might give you pause. Oh, what luck. Sounds like the detective is in. Come, traveler. Come with me into room V1113. Vespa Ilkay and the Railbird's Gamble.
Mars is dry as hell. Dry enough that you could drive out into the middle of nowhere and find nothing but red sand for miles and miles. For a couple of them, we did that in silence, which was probably a huge effort for the person sitting next to me.
You must want a better explanation than what measly amount I've given you.
Like I said, a huge effort. Buddy Aurinko, formerly known as Agent Eos Arol. She turned out to be Vicky's only contact in this whole ancient Martian mess. Lucky for me, since I only really got in on this ancient Martian mess to look for Buddy.
Oh, come now, Detective. You aren't still mad about that whole sorry mess with the mask, are you?
Weren't you going to give me a better explanation?
Well,
we're here.
Oh. I'd forgotten how incredibly efficient you can be, Detective.
According to her, we were after something new that her boss wanted. Another Martian artifact or whatever. I didn't really care about what the hell it was or what it could do, but...
The Egg of Purus.
What?
It's the final artifact my employer needs to complete her arsenal for destroying the world.
Be serious.
Oh, darling, I'm as serious as a heart attack. Or brain cancer. Or radiation poisoning. Whichever is more serious to you.
Fuck you.
Why, Vespa, if you wanted to pick things up where we left them back at your apartment, you needn't have given Victoria a call first.
All right, that's it. Get out of my car.
Oh, you really can't take a joke. Cassandra was right.
You think this is funny? I haven't slept a wink, in case you haven't noticed. I've been on the case since yesterday morning, and then you go and break into my apartment to drag me out here and make me the butt of all your jokes when I...
Oh, I just needed you to lighten up a bit before I brought the mood back down, that's all. It really is terrible news. I myself have lost sleep thinking about it, and you know how terribly I need my beauty sleep. Well, all right then, if you insist on being that way. I was serious, you know. The Egg of Purus is a bomb wielding enough power to wipe out the entirety of life on Mars as we know it. I've had you drive out here, in the middle of nowhere, to even begin to get to that bomb. With me so far?
You haven't gone anywhere.
Just making sure we're both at the station. You see, that bomb is held within one of the most secure vaults in the galaxy, and it'll be passing us by right about... now.
So, you were saying?
That, dear, was the Utgard Express. What lies within it is about 1,001 terrible things that could very well bring about another intergalactic war. So people, in their right minds, have locked it up. The Egg of Purus just happens to be that +1.
And now we're breaking in to get it.
Precisely.
Why are you doing this?
Doing what?
You're getting paid to steal it, aren't you? Why do you care so much? Just steal it and go.
You mean aside from the fact that she's about to wipe out an entire planet's population? Vespa, darling, I know we've had our differences, but for you to even consider that I just...
Why the hell should I believe you?
First of all, that is rude. If you wanted to ask me a question, you could have at least pretended to have the courtesy to wait for me to finish answering it. Secondly, though I hired your services, you, though unconventionally, called me first. And as hilarious you think I am, Vespa, there's not much material in mass genocides. I can assure you this is the furthest possible thing from a practical joke. And lastly, all of this is based on research.
None of which you did, I take it.
I take offense to that. I stole her research and studied it as much as I could.
Whose?
Oh, you wouldn't know her, darling. I doubt you run in the same circles, seeing as you are in medicine and she...
Spit it out already.
Miasma. Her name is Miasma. She's...
A xenoanthropologist from Olympus U. She worked there for 50 years, got a bunch of awards, and then disappeared.
There you go again, cutting me off. Yes, thank you. You've proven that you've done your own research. Brava.
She was still teaching and doing seminars when I graduated years ago. That, and I actually looked up as much as I could about these stupid artifacts because people who had them kept dying and getting stolen from. It's how we met, remember?
Yes. And I find I can't quite forget the events of our meeting, I'm afraid. It all just seemed so...
She was leaning in. Or I was leaning in. At that moment, it felt like there was a black hole in the center console, pulling us both in, with no way to stop it. I don't know, I hadn't really slept, so maybe I was just getting a bit lightheaded. But her lips were parted and her eyes were lidded, and that cologne, God, that cologne. No, damn it, Vespa, we're not going through this, not again. I wasn't going to fall for her bullshit wide-eyed act again, not after last time, not after... Achoo! Achoo!
Well...
So how?
Pardon?
How are we getting on the train? You haven't told me anything about that yet.
Oh. Well, I'll set up the next location then. I hope you're in the mood to gamble, darling. We're headed to the Oasis Casino Resort. You'll see when we get there.
We pulled up to Oasis, a looming green tower in the red sands. The place didn't look like a casino, but coming from me, that didn't say much. I'd never been to one before, and I hadn't planned to. But if you place your bets on someone like Buddy Aurinko, you better be prepared to fold, because the odds are stacked against you from the start. Speaking of, Buddy's plan was probably already in motion, though she'd only told me less than half of it. It was incredible how much she could talk without saying a single word that meant something. She pointed me towards the parking garage and told me to stop the car.
We're pressed for time, so I'm going ahead. I'll check in and start looking for Engstrom.
Like Brock Engstrom, the jewel thief?
Please, retired jewel thief. These days, the only crime Engstrom's guilty of is overcharging for his ridiculous seminars in motivation. Absolutely dreadful.
The hell we need to talk to a pickpocket like him for, then?
I wouldn't even give Engstrom the honor of calling him a pickpocket anymore, darling. He did all of his best work decades ago, if it can even be called that, and now that the statute of limitations has run out, he's milking those stories for every cred they're worth, all while being insufferably smug about it. As if he isn't the 1,000th half-rate cut-purse to think of that.
But...
Oh, I almost forgot. You'll need these.
Registration? Is this a ring? Do I look like the marrying type? And what the hell kind of name is Luna Rose?
Oh, don't be difficult, darling. I already had my alias ironed out, and yours simply had to fit the theme. Besides, not every name can have such an interesting origin as Vespa. Cheers, Luna dearest. I'll see you in room 1113.
Typical. I got the fucking... The paperwork checked out. Even the fake driver's license she gave went through their system without complaint. But it took me nearly half an hour of dodging drunk dumbasses to find our room. Hello? Adol. Aurinko? Hell, I don't know. Rose? The hell is... Great, of course. There was a note by the phone. It read, "Off to find Engstrom. Will call. Miss you already. Lux Rose." I knew Buddy had written it. It was even signed with a lipstick stain as red as her hair. Typical. I'd received a note from her once before, which I'd read a few times. Threw it away once and went crawling through a goddamn dumpster to get it back. The vents coughed up a breeze and a shadow rustled in the corner. I jumped, reached for my knife. Then I saw that it was just a coat. Buddy's coat. I've always thought it pays to be paranoid. Sure, it doesn't always pay well, and most of the time it doesn't pay at all, but when it does, you're gonna be grateful for it. So I started through her pockets. One of my knives, a matchbook from the front desk, another bottle of cognac. Where did she even keep getting these? Christ, she kept a lot of junk in there. Get a purse, Aurinko. A lockpick and a hand mirror, camera hidden in an earring. bottomless, endless. Then, tucked in a hidden pocket inside the left breast, I found them instead. Notes, dozens of them crumpled into tiny little balls with dozens of paragraphs and scrawls and scribbled out sentences. Reading them felt like looking into her head. I shoved them into my pocket, and with it the feeling that I was invading her privacy by doing this. But hell, it was better than nothing. What?
Ah, my moonlight. You found the room after all. Marvelous.
Moonlight? No, that's cheesy even for you.
Well, dear, I think I still have a few pills in my purse if you're still suffering the wrath of grapes. I told you about Mr. Engström, yes? Well, he says a game has just opened up and I'll need you down here immediately.
I get it. You sound like you've got it under control. What's so important that I gotta be there?
I'm just the good luck charm, Luna. Yours, if I remember our vows correctly. If I could have done this without you, I would have left you at home.
Fine, I'm on my way. What room?
Oh, one of Mr. Engström's friends will be by to help you any moment now. Can't have you getting lost. Oh, that must be her. Don't keep us waiting. Oh, and do wear that suit I love so much, will you? I hung it in the closet for you.
The what?
Don't say I never get you anything, darling. See you soon.
Mr. Engström's private room is just at the end of this hall.
You really shouldn't be smoking, doctor's orders.
I didn't ask for a second opinion. Learn to live with it, hun. Thank you, Valencia.
Luna, there you are.
Hi, babe.
Luna Rose, your husband's told me so much about you. Have a seat, please.
Didn't seem to me like Engström needed to overcharge on those seminars. The rings weighing down his wrinkled, shaking fingers looked expensive enough as it is, obviously there to make a statement, or cause arthritis. And great, another smoker. Better quality cigar than the chintzy little thing his friend was smoking, though. She was the first thing that worried me. Valencia. Exactly the type of person I'd have bought a drink somewhere, sometime 10 years ago. She looked like a lounge singer, all snaky neck and eyes too far apart. Not like a bodyguard at all. I didn't like it.
Valencia, if you would. Yes, Mr. Engström.
The second thing that worried me was that the cards being set up on the table looked a little too familiar. Suddenly, Buddy mentioning good luck charms made sense.
The game your husband and I have agreed upon takes some time to prepare, so let's get to know each other a bit, shall we? Drink?
Pass. I'm still hungover, and Lux here drinks more than enough for the both of us anyway.
Lux was just telling me, Luna, that you two lifted the covetous jewel during its museum tour in the Outer Rim.
Sounds like Lux.
I'm honestly surprised word about the jewel hasn't yet made its way to Mars. It was a very big job on the Outer Rim, you know.
The Outer Rim is a very small pond, Rose. Your whales hardly rank for minnows here.
How aptly you've put it, Mr. Engström, because that's just how we were feeling. It's why we thought we ought to sell that rock and use the cash to go after something really exciting. And that's when we stumbled upon, well...
plans to stop the Utgard Express. If you don't mind my asking, Mr. Rose, if you can stop that train, what are you doing here? You should be out there, looting to your heart's content.
Was just wondering the same thing.
Well, there is, of course, the Utgard security team. If there's any sign the train has stopped, within 60 seconds we'd be practically drowning in guards, and that's not nearly enough time to get what we need. But you, Mr. Engström, I hear you know how to get on that train without alerting security.
And so here we are. You can stop that train, but not board it. I can board the train, but can't leave once I've done so. Each of us has information the other needs, but cannot allow the others to learn. This would be an impasse, were it not for our game. The most complicated game in the galaxy, they say.
Only losers say that back on Ranga, which was why the old man always lost to me.
Ah, I wasn't aware your wife was a native, Mr. Rose. Yes, we are indeed playing Rangian street poker, a game of wages where the stakes don't come in creds, but rather questions, information.
The game is ready, Mr. Ringstrom.
No need to get pretentious. I've been playing street poker since I was old enough to shuck swamp oysters with my eyes closed.
Oh, and around what age was that, darling? I feel like I learn new things about you every day. It's all very exciting.
8.
Well, could we talk our way through the first hand, then? We were a bit too preoccupied during the honeymoon for card games, and I'm afraid I'm not entirely familiar with this one just yet.
If you insist. Your ask, Rose.
I didn't take you to be a generous man, Mr. Engstrom. Isn't that nice of him, darling?
Yeah, real nice. So, babe, one of us asks a question to start the round. Let's start with... I'll give it to you. What do you want to ask?
How do we board the Utgard Express?
The game's not ending that quickly.
So he counters with his own question, and if I agree, we play a hand to see which of us gets an answer. The counter-asker can't refuse the question. Only the asker can turn down the round.
Like so. How do I stop the Utgard Express?
Then I'll pass.
So if he doesn't like your question, he has to ask something you don't want to answer.
Just so. Oh, I nearly forgot. One last matter of business. In a game where each player takes the truth, we must of course address the punishment for lying. And so, let us discuss your collateral.
It's just poker, pal. Quit being dramatic. Look, it's if I lie, you kill me. If you lie, I kill you.
Oh my, I hope you mean that metaphorically.
It's fine. Only liars die in this game, isn't that right, Engstrom?
Certainly. How good to know I'm playing with an experienced woman. Detective Ilkay, would you mind passing me that deck?
Valencia put one right next to you. What did you just call me?
Oh, have I let something slip?
Well, I take it that changes things then.
Not if the detective's skills are as up to par as she says they are. Did you really think I'd clear out my afternoon for a couple of yokels claiming they can stop the Utgard Express? These streets runneth over with people who think they've solved that train. Hobbyists and lunatics and liars. The Utgard Express draws them all. And usually to my doorstep.
Yet you've made time for us. Why are we any different?
Before I play with anyone, I have the name and address on file. The surveillance system in the front lobby takes care of that for me. Thus, should the terms of honesty within our game be violated, I know exactly where to collect my collateral. You, however, Mr. Rose, we couldn't find anywhere.
Have you ever thought of looking into prescription lenses, Brock? I believe that in your advanced age, you haven't nearly been looking hard enough. Of course I exist. I'm right here. Aren't I, Vespa?
Really?
There's nothing wrong with the system, Mr. Rose. And besides, that wasn't even my final point.
Get to it quicker. We have a game to play, remember?
If I can't find you when your lies reveal themselves, you're hardly motivated to tell the truth.
Ah, so you need a life you can take. Someone you can find.
What? I already bet my life and I'm the one playing. What are we looking at me for?
That's because he'll be asking you questions about me, darling. And if you lie about that, they're going to kill
Me. Those are the rules. And that doesn't make sense. Who's to say you haven't lied to me either?
Where's your tact, darling? It seems you've misplaced it. I wouldn't go so far as to double-cross you in the solace of your own home, much less in front of our colleagues here.
Yeah, like I'd believe that. She gave me this look. It wasn't much, just barely a side-eye, really, a glance. But it traveled between me and Engstrom, and suddenly I understood what she was playing at. She hadn't lied to me. Her name was Buddy Aurinko, some intergalactic gentleman thief playing at heroics that I've seen only headlines about. Only right then, she was Lux Rose, Luna Rose's husband, and both realities were true. Right then, Buddy Aurinko, as Lux Rose, was making a point to play up my skepticism in front of Engstrom, a trick before the card game even began. I was sure of it. I wasn't sure how, but between that glance and the words that came after, I was sure that Buddy had a plan and all I had to do was play by it. I didn't like how easily I trusted that thought. It made my head spin. That could easily have just been the smoke.
Fallacies don't count when you don't know that they're fallacies in the first place, darling.
2 wrongs don't make a right, Lux. And again, those aren't the rules.
Yes, but that doesn't give our Mr. Rose any stakes, Detective. This, on the other hand, will. Valencia, what was it on her file?
Jetsikuliak, Mr. Ringstrom.
Ah, yes. Jetsikuliak. The unnatural disaster. You're brilliant, Valencia. Simply brilliant. We know where to find him, and if ever we find that Detective Ilkay has lied for you, she will know never to play with you again.
This is bullshit!
Kill the unnatural disaster. You! Between the deterioration of your reputation and the shaking of your hands, Brock, you'd be a lot more likely to kill me from boredom first.
Don't be ridiculous. I want to work with him, not kill him. Put him in a few seminars, and that's the remainder of my retirement secured.
Good luck getting him out of Hyperion, then, or making it one step into it. Besides, I thought you said we were playing standard rules. Either kill the opposing player or don't play at all.
We accept.
You want to play this game instead? Because I'm not gonna.
You are gonna have to, whether you like it or not, Vespa. Remember the stakes.
Well, now that that's settled, let's play. It is my turn to ask. What planet were you born on, Rose?
How do you have access to the Oasis's security footage?
I accept. Let's play.
It was slow going at first, which, for all my big talk, was kinda nice. I haven't picked up a deck of cards since I graduated, and though the basics stuck, the tricks take a bit longer to remember. Before I knew it, the round was already almost over. I was down to 14 cards, and I'd have put down 5 more when Engstrom asked for Creek in the next set, but then...
Detective Ilkay, if you insist that we play by standard variations, I'm afraid you'll have to hold up your cards like so.
Don't remember that from literally any card game ever. Keep playing and mind your own cards.
It's just the principle of the thing.
I glanced over at Buddy, about to tell her to just get this over with, but I saw something from the side of my eye. Valencia by the door behind me, smoking her damn cigarette. I couldn't help it. That got anything to do with your bodyguard seeing my cards from where she's standing behind me? Here, Valencia, can you see him now? That clear enough for you?
Yes.
Careful, darling. As much as I appreciate your abrasive wit, I'm afraid this time the stakes are a tad higher if Brock here decides he doesn't like your tone.
I'll pretend that didn't just happen if you cooperate, Detective. You just need to hold up your cards.
A hypocrite and a narc. Old habits die hard, eh, Agent? Fine.
Thank you. Rapids.
Concourse.
North or south?
West.
Reveal.
And well, there it was. Engstrom had a pair of aces, I had a 2 of clubs, and a picture of a goat. Easy first game. Not that it meant anything.
I knew you had a bit of a competitive streak, darling, but I didn't take you for a sore loser as well.
I'm not. I won.
Ah. I believe I didn't catch that part of the tutorial.
My answer? I pay the Oasis generously for these private rooms. I'm retired. This is the only sport that still entertains me. They want to keep their star customer. So, as long as I bring them publicity, the casino doesn't care how I choose my opponents.
Ask a boring question, get a boring answer, I suppose. Your ask, Brock.
My ask. What is your name?
You already know my name.
I wasn't talking to you.
If Buddy was worried, her face didn't show it. Most of the time, she just looked amused, with that half-smile that said she was just humoring the world, waiting for it to do something worth her attention again.
Well, if we're skipping over the detective, I suppose. How do we get aboard the Utgard Express?
Very interesting. Pass, of course.
Of course. Care to speed things up, Detective?
I thought you'd never ask. And when the cards were being played as fast as I was used to, it all started to fade away. It was hard to keep track of how many rounds we were going through until one of us ripped a card and restarted. One thing was clear to me by the third time around, though. Your win. I don't know where she's from, she never told me. Your win. Medical experience by the assload. Your win. I met her on a case. I was losing. Bad. Too bad for it to be actually fair. I knew this game as well as I did Hyperion. The names changed, but the moves stayed the same. Engstrom was cheating, and it had something to do with Valencia. But I couldn't say that without starting a fight, so I kept playing in hope that Buddy wouldn't wager my secretary's life on a game of street poker, or she took her sweet time figuring out how they were cheating it.
How do we get on to the Utgard Express?
What is Lux Rose's real name?
Pass. The message was clear and cold as the ice in their drinks. Either of those questions get answered, we're done. I knew what trick Engstrom was pulling. If I tell him Buddy's real name, tear down our setup for an easy loss and move on, he was still going to keep trying to catch me to lie, to pass go and collect Jet directly from my office. All the while, Valencia stood behind us. That smoke was grating me on both ends already, but something else was off with her cigarette. Like it was just a near-constant thing and it never ran out. Finally, Buddy made a move. I'll hit the corners.
East-west.
Valencia, was it? I'll take a Venusian connection, I think. On the rocks.
Do I look like a waiter to you, doll?
Well, seeing as I placed an order and you looked positively prepared to murder me at the request, I think I'm inclined to say that yes, you do. Oh, and make it a double, won't you, darling?
You can get your own drink. I'm watching the game.
I couldn't focus much on what they were talking about back there. I knew technically how the game was moving, more towards Engstrom winning than me. With 40 more cards on our deck for this round, it was starting to get ridiculous. From Engstrom's questions and movements, it was clear that he could see my cards, and I was itching to just throw my hand and grab a knife. But Buddy had a plan. Buddy had her goddamn plan.
A picture would last longer, you know.
Aren't your legs tired from standing there and in such high heels? My goodness, I thought I was a size queen. Besides, the view would be much better from the table, don't you think?
The view is fine from back here.
Perhaps I'll join you then. Though I'm afraid that with the amount of smoke you're emitting, the doctor in my detective will be very sore with me.
Luckily for your health, you won't be standing back here with me for much longer. Detective, would you mind telling your date to behave herself?
Wouldn't that be the day?
Then I'll do it for you. Mr. Rose, you will leave my assistant alone, or you can kiss your answers goodbye.
Technically, your assistant should leave her alone since she started it.
In terms of good luck charms, I've never been the ace in the hole, but I've been told I'm more of a stubborn sort of bedside queen besides.
Tuh.
She cannot stand back there.
Yeah, Valencia, you can't stand back there.
You heard them.
I meant Rose.
Move, or I make you.
But I do rather like this spot, I'm afraid. Right behind my darling detective. How are you feeling, Vespa?
Like I need 8 hours of sleep.
And besides, your spot isn't even so special, Valencia. The one thing you've got a very good view is, again, Vespa's hand.
Let's see you pretend this didn't happen now.
Just what are you trying to imply?
I'm not implying anything. Last I checked, we were playing street poker, not street magic. Making me hold up my cards for Valencia to see was all a part of the trick, and you know, standard variation rules say I get to kill you for breaking them. I've used toilet paper less flimsy than your sorry excuse of a poker face. The second I mentioned you were cheating, before the game even started, you looked like you were about to throw up.
Very impressive, detective. So, Brock, are you cheating?
Is that your question?
Oh, no. It is game over until you can crawl out of that hole you just dug for yourself.
Then you'll never know how to get aboard the God Express.
That's an empty threat. We were never going to learn a thing about the train playing a cheater anyway. Let's go, Rose.
I am not cheating. Valencia, clean this up.
Yes, sir.
Vespa.
You know, I could kill you here now just for even trying to lie.
I will not tolerate this. Do you hear me? You have no evidence.
Say that to the laundry list I just gave you. What more do you want? A goddamn presentation to go with it?
No, he's right, Vespa. If he wants us to prove it, we might as well keep playing. Sit down.
What? Are you No.
No.
No, I'm done.
Oh, what sort of game do you think this is?
What sort of game do you think this is? It's street poker, dumbass. If you want to play with air, be my guest, but I'm not playing another round with you.
A time out, then. You'll have to excuse us, Brock. My private eye seems to be acting up.
Put some drops in her then. She'd better behave herself when you come back.
I've got a knife with your name on it when I see you.
Come along, Detective. Care to explain the reasoning behind that little display?
No, you want to tell me what the hell that was about? Because I think I deserve some answers, Aurinko.
Well, you see, there's a weapon on a train.
You know what I mean. I had him where we needed him, and you want to indulge and play the long game with him just because. My secretary's life is on the line here.
Oh, you really are just charming when you're like this, darling. If that's the end of your moment, Engstrom has just backed himself into a corner, and we are in position to take advantage of that. Of course, we would be if it weren't for your little display. And can I just say, that was a marvelous performance, dear. Well done. If only it had just ended there and I didn't have to deal with it.
This isn't some amateur hour theater troupe, Aurinko, and in case you're forgetting, you're not some Dark Matters agent babysitting me anymore. I pointed out how he was cheating. I'm still playing the game, and if I have to take the fall for you instead of telling him your name, my secretary's saying Hallmark quotes to wannabe thief brats until he dies. What else do you want? Because I feel like I'm pulling all the weight here, and the moment I try to speed things up, you want to play chicken with a retired jewel thief?
It's as you said. He's dug himself into a hole, and all that's left is to put a lid on it. I will help you. You just have to keep playing.
Okay. So I put my trust on you, the thief who's been working for some whack job with a doctorate, killing anyone who gets in the way, who's stolen evidence from me, who's done nothing to earn my trust this entire time. I just give you all the things that you need while you sit there and look pretty, is that it?
I did say I needed you.
To be your stooge, clearly. And it's not like you've got anything on the line here. Worst case scenario here is that I lose enough, end up lying, and a few days from now I get arrested for killing Ekstrom.
Vespa, you weren't in any such danger that you wouldn't already bring unto yourself. I would never wager your life or livelihood like that.
Come on. You seriously think I'm that much of an idiot? No, wait. Actually, I really am. Because for a moment there, I really thought you'd changed. But this is just another extraction job for you. I don't even know what you're planning. I'm just a pawn, and you're pushing around on your stupid little board.
I think you've got our games confused, Vespa. We're playing street poker, not chess.
But you're not denying it.
So I'm not. I'm not above lying about whatever he asks of me when you lose again. Heaven knows he can't prove a thing, and I don't really plan on leaving him with any reputation intact to cash in on it. Neither you nor Jet have anything to worry about, and we both know why. Besides, darling, if we don't get on that train sometime within the next, say, 30 hours, we'll be in a hell of a lot more trouble than the consequences outlined in your little poker game.
We have other ways to get on that train. I can call my secretary right now, and he can probably get us to the codes before Engstrom can rip another pair of cards. Just admit it, buddy. You just want to toy with me, don't you? That smile, that ever-present and infuriating smile that had me the punchline of her own little joke since the moment she walked into my office, disappeared. And that was when I knew I had her.
I suggest you choose your next words carefully.
You didn't deny it. And this isn't our first rodeo, remember? I don't know what it is or if it's even at all related to miasma, but you're dragging this game out because you've got something up your sleeve, and I'm not going back in there until you tell me, until I'm sure that whatever the next step in this plan is, it won't get me killed and it won't waste my goddamn time.
Fine. A few months back, you took the case of one Prince of Mars and his husband, Anthony DiMaggio, CEOs of Saffron Pharmaceuticals.
How do you...
If you want answers, I'm afraid the questions will have to wait. We're pressed for time as it is, even with your little tantrum in there. I was on Mars for that case of yours. I'd been tasked to steal 2 things.
The teleporter and the pill.
Really, do you want to tell the story?
No, sorry, go on.
As I was about to say, I'd done a stellar job. I'd gotten both artifacts, though it seemed only one artifact got back to miasma, mostly because there are just some things too big to whisk away. Otherwise, neither of them would have made it.
You done?
Yes, thank you.
All right, first off, I don't believe you.
Your denial knows no bounds.
Call it skepticism. Second, even if you are telling the truth, you're an idiot. You stole the pill from your boss. No wonder she's about to come for our throats. Did you at least destroy it?
Vespa, darling, that was an ancient, priceless artifact, not to mention one that could very well change the very fabric of human interactions itself as we know it. One cannot just destroy something with that much xenoanthropological significance. Besides, I did all that I could to it, and it still didn't break, so I did the next best thing rather than to get in the hands of someone like miasma.
What? Did you swallow it? I was kidding. Are you completely unhinged? You swallowed it? It could have killed you, or...
Please, doctor, spare me the concern. I've swallowed drinks more volatile than that chunk of rock.
That doesn't reassure me, and I am not concerned. I'm pissed. You're betting my life and the life of my secretary even just speaking to me, and now you want me to just do what you want?
No, I'm not betting anything. You are. You just have to trust me, dear. The pill works. I've used it before. I just need more time.
Fine. Do I want to trust you? Sure, but that doesn't mean anything. Now it just makes you look more suspicious. Like, why are we stretching this all out when you could just have mind-read the information you needed from him, hypothetically?
Hypothetically?
All you needed to do was catch him somewhere that wasn't in a game or pretend to be someone from the Utgard. Literally anything else but this game of street poker.
I admit, I didn't think of that. And I wouldn't have realized how much I needed that kind of clever thinking if you weren't here. I'll try to run any future plans by you, darling. You do seem to have a mind for these things.
That's one way to get yourself killed, I guess.
Is it? I'm still alive, aren't I? And I trust you.
That doesn't make it a two-way street, bud. For all I know, you're just long-conning me, too.
Again, you think so little of me. I have my reasons, and though I can't tell you any of them, I can assure you that they're never to harm you intentionally. As for why I trust you...
What?
Curious, are we?
It just sounded like you were leading up to something.
Perhaps I was.
Well, are you gonna say it? Never known you to be one to hold back.
Maybe you've taught me some restraint.
I doubt it.
Then maybe you'd like to come here. Perhaps I can assuage your fears, darling.
We're in public, Rose.
There she is, my cranky detective.
Mr. Ringstrom wants you all to know he's getting bored. Are you two done kissing in there, or should we call this game right now?
We're not...
Just a moment, darling. Just need to reapply my lipstick and powder my face. So, detective, any other insecurities I can massage for you?
No, I'm all set.
Good. I'm counting on you, you know.
And at some point, I'll figure out why.
You'll simply have to let me hear about it when you do. Come along. Engström is waiting.
It's about time. Is everything under control?
As controlled as she'll ever be. Have you ever tried catching the wind, Brock? I hear it's very difficult. This was just a tad harder.
Sure. While you were away, I received an invitation I don't intend to decline. I can give you 20 minutes more. Enough time for a few hands. A last chance at a few big questions.
Is one of them Et tu, Valencia?
Sit. Let's play. Now, what is your name?
Vespa, buy as much time as you can, please.
Good luck.
I won't need it, but thank you. What is the access code to your personal bank account?
I see. Quite a defensive maneuver.
Pass or play?
Pass, of course. I wouldn't risk my retirement on either of you. And besides, you know how this game has to end.
I lowered my hand a bit, just so it wasn't completely over my shoulder, just so Valencia would have to lean forward. I didn't know if Buddy needed proximity or time or just enough danger to jumpstart that stupid pill of hers, but hell if I wasn't going to try and help her. The games following that were fast, but I had a handle on it, and while the smoke was getting thicker and thicker in the room, the questions kept coming. How do we board the Utgard Express?
What is Lux Rose's real name?
Pass. We were running out of time, and Engström wasn't willing to budge anymore.
What is her name?
Pass. Not a single hand was played. We were going nowhere, and I couldn't stall any longer. Rose!
I know, darling.
What is her name?
Pass. Whatever she was doing, it had to happen any second now. I played how I usually did then, putting my cards face down on the felt.
Cards up, detective. We've been through this.
If you're so sure you're not cheating, you can shut your mouth. Engström didn't say anything else, which was smart. His face stayed stony as we played on, and I managed to win a couple of rounds.
My family was from Balder originally, but we moved to the Trojan Belt soon after. I'm planning on retiring to Earth. The Martian air is simply terrible for my lungs.
But after my last win, Engström finally snapped, and he said,
That's enough. I was under the impression that you had either the courage to play to your stakes or the decency to apologize for your actions. I was wrong on both counts.
Decency? You're cheating!
If you levy these false accusations against me one more time, Detective Ilkay,
I apologize for the detective's outburst, Mr. Engström. Tensions run high in a game like this.
Preposterous! It can only be tense if she actually played the round where her questions were asked. I will give you two one final chance. One last hand. After that, I'm afraid I have other obligations to which I must attend.
All right. Let's give him a show then, Vespa darling. How do we board the Utgard Express?
What is your name?
Buddy looked idly on, a pleasant smile pasted onto her lips. I had no other choice but the one she gave me. Play. And suddenly, Buddy clutched at the edge of the table with her manicured fingers, wrecking lines on the felt surface. She blinked. That was all the warning we got before her nose started bleeding.
Feeling emotional, Rose? Your nose is bleeding.
Oh my.
Here, tilt your head back.
That's very sweet, darling. I have our key. What I need you to do is end the round.
What?
Care to share your conversation with the rest of the table?
Hell no. Your win, I don't care.
And that, my friend, is the game. Now, Rose, your name?
There's your chance, Lux. Valencia was clearing the table. I knew she must have the key to Engström's method somewhere on her, but I didn't know where. I stood, seeing if I needed to step in somewhere as Buddy stood up straight and tracked Valencia's movements. I shoved my hands in my pockets and waited. If Engström was worried I was about to slit his throat, he didn't show it.
Valencia, dear, mind if I bum a smoke?
For the last time, hun,
Nice.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
Something really, really satisfying, apparently.
Put down that cigarette.
Gladly.
Damn feedback.
Well, no wonder you've got sensitive lungs, Valencia. Your doctor's been prescribing you circuits and wires.
And I'm going to guess that the earphone you've just pulled out isn't for listening to the radio, Brock.
So you caught me in a lie. So what? You still don't know how to board the Utgard Express.
No, but what we do have is hard evidence of the fact that you're a lying cheapskate with a penchant for cheating at card games. And it's exactly what you wanted as well.
What did I say, Brock? You had a date with my knife, whether you wanted it or not.
You'll kill me.
It's nothing personal.
Oh, you're fools. I told you, the Oasis rests on my notoriety. If you kill me, if you hurt the bottom line, you'll wish you died here.
Well, Vespa, he raises a valid point.
I have a sharper one.
Well, there are worse things we can do than kill him. Since we have this new information, though that might not lead us anywhere near the train, it could lead Brock here to getting thrown out of the Oasis. Isn't that right, darling?
I've been in this business too long for empty threats to faze me.
Well, it's just that the Oasis won't like it if word got out that their star customer was a cheater. Bad publicity can be terribly damaging, after all. Why, it can practically make or break your business. Oh, how did you put it, Brocky? If you hurt their bottom line, you'll wish you died here? There is an out, of course.
I've been after that train for half a century, Rose, and you're going to rob it out from under me.
Have you finally figured it out? My, one wonders how easy it must have been to break into business back in the day, if this is what we're dealing with.
My generation was the best of their kind. This new generation of thieves hasn't got a scrap of honor. What has crime come to?
Oh, bigger and better things, I can assure you. Now talk.
As you know, that train moves too quickly to be approached. But a lockbox is useless if one can't put anything in it or take anything out.
Yeah, it has to slow down. You don't have to either. Talk faster.
It slows down once a week to intercept shipments. There's a site down in the desert. They launch high-speed transport drones which intercept the train and drop their payload. The next shipment is tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock.
And where is that launch site?
Here, the coordinates.
They had most certainly better be. Wouldn't want anyone to start asking where you get your cigarettes. Come along, Vespa.
What? You gotta let me cut him up at least a little. It's the rules.
As much as I'd enjoy watching you do that, darling, we really must depart. We have a train to catch, remember?
But whatever.
You'll regret crossing me, Rose. Do you hear me? You'll remember this mistake for as long as you live.
I doubt that. You've proven yourself eminently forgettable already. Cheers.
We won. We won, and we'd even done it with style. Just like she said we would. As the hype of our win finally ebbed down to a simmer, I couldn't help but grin at that thought.
Why, Detective, what's that on your face?
Oh, save it.
Don't tell me you enjoyed that. You'll inflate my ego. But did you?
Yeah. And as I looked at Buddy with smiles on our lips, I couldn't help one other thing. Good moments can only last as long as I could get them to, and this one had just run its course. Because what did we really win? A piece of paper with some information to get on the Utgard Express? That was just one step of it. We'd have to actually get the bomb, get out of the train, and then figure out how to play keep-away with Buddy's employer until we found a way to destroy it.
Now that's just spoiling the fun of it.
Did you just...
Not to worry, Detective. It's written all over your face. What's gotten into you?
You're gonna tell me the rest of the plan now?
Oh, why? What's the rush? Can't we just celebrate for the rest of the evening? It seemed you had no other insecurities to massage, but what about...
Or you could just tell me right now. I don't see what the holdup is. Unless you're hiding something else. What, did you just plan on improvising tomorrow? Because if that's the only thing you're trying to hide, I can just help you plan.
Please. Of course I have an entire plan.
So what?
What?
Buddy, just tell me the goddamn plan.
What in the world? You took these from my coat pocket, didn't you?
I did. So do you want me to raid your plans from those instead?
Vespa.
What?
Never mind your total breach of my privacy. These are old notes.
Like I buy that.
Well, Agent Kiss-Ass. Well, let's see. Dark Matters agent, simpering teacher's pet sort of thing. Penchant for the etymology of names and excessively flirting with upright detectives. Ah, Bimbo Deluxe. That's me right now, your husband. A bit of an airhead, newlywed, loves her wife. Has every idea how Rangian street poker works, but simply has to be the arm candy in every job or else.
Yeah, I get it.
No, you wanted to know everything, didn't you? Oh, look, here's one I did when we weren't together, unfortunately. Do you know a Blair Rockridge? Never mind, I don't care. Detective Blockhead.
But
Detective Medusa Ray. Bit of a cynic, this one. Has a glare that can turn you to stone. She's a bit of a kidder, but it's to distract from the fact that she's invested in the thing she's joking about. But when you try to tell her about it, oh, does she get upset.
I said I get it.
Do you? Do you really? Because it seems to me like I have placed an enormous amount of trust in you when you've barely afforded me the same courtesy. We are not enemies, Vespa, no matter how much you seem intent on making an antagonist of me.
You must go after some pretty easy marks if you think that's gonna work on me, Aurinko.
Where are you going?
Making a damn call. Anything else you want me to do for you?
Good night, Detective Ilkay.
God, come on, Sakuliak, pick up.
Hello.
Sakuliak, I need you to...
This is the office of the Ilkay Detective Agency. We are not available to take your call or your case right now. Please call again during our normal business hours, which are...
Sakuliak, have you seen my... What are you doing? Is that what I
Vespa,
sound like?
I'm setting the answering machine message so that our clients will know what to do should we be unavailable when they call. Oh.
Well, can you hold on a second? I can't find my comms.
I'm afraid I cannot hold on, as the recorder is running as we speak.
You're gonna have to. I was right in the middle of my Sudoku, Jet, and that shit is on a timer. Sakuliak, Jet, this is Vespa. I have no idea why I'm calling. Well, to update, I found her, just like I said I would. Funny enough, she was Vicky's contact. So now I'm just going along with whatever she wants, and it's frustrating that she talks so fucking much, but this one thing, and it's the thing that could save us if I knew all of it, and she doesn't want to tell me. It's like every time I ask her, she just gets more and more pissed at me, and I don't want... Whatever, just sorry for calling in the middle of the night again. And, take the week off, Jet. And if you don't hear from me by then, you know who to...
End of message.
He'll figure it out.